What's going on, people? We are back with another edition of the Conscious Approach Podcast, episode whatever,
15 maybe?
14, 15, something like that.
Like
Well,
16, might be 16 to be honest.
yeah, we eventually we're gonna make so many videos that I lose track, which is a good thing. That means that I still want to do it. Yeah. So in this edition, Rona is out there wreaking havoc in the world. So we figured we would give our perspectives on what you can take away from this situation, because every cloud has a silver lining, man. And even in tough times, there are valuable lessons that can be learned that you can take with you into the future to empower yourself to do and be better. And so I guess we figured we would spend some time talking about what's going on out there with the coronavirus from our standpoint. So I guess the thing that, for me, when all of this kind of went down and I saw the economic toll that it was taking, first off, I want to say that to everyone who has been actually affected by this, people who have been infected, people who have died and all of that kind of stuff, my condolences go out. That is definitely a tough pill to swallow in terms of the death toll and just kind of the effect that it is having on people's lives. The people up there in New York and certain other hot spots, even here in Florida down south, New Orleans, a lot of people are being actually affected by the situation. Yeah. So before I even say what I want to say, I want to get it out there that my condolences go out to those who have been actually affected by this situation in various ways, whether it's you yourself, if you've been infected, or whether you know somebody personally or anything like that. My thoughts go out to you and all of that kind of stuff. But, beyond that, the thing that kind of struck me that made me want to kind of, speak on it a little bit is the economic toll that this thing has taken. Now, it's a sad situation. You got a lot of people being laid off. You got a lot of people being furloughed. You got a lot of people who still have employment, gainful employment, but maybe it's been altered in some kind of way. Maybe you're getting a fraction of your salary, or you're getting less hours, or you're working less, bringing in less money, something like that. Whatever the case may be, the economic toll that it has had on all those who have been affected has been great. But on the flip side of that, the economic toll for many of those who are economically free has been not that great, if we're going to be perfectly honest. And, what I hope that this situation imparts upon people to take away from is, the value in gaining the tools that you need to gain so that you can free yourself. I am very big on the idea that maybe being rich or being wealthy isn't the end all to be all. Maybe that's not the source of freedom, but I do think that economic freedom is the key to freedom in life. And I think that what separates people who are susceptible to certain ills in society versus people who are not susceptible to those is financial freedom. This stuff is very simple. And I wrote a post a few years ago. You can read it. It's on consciousapproach.com, called Carpe Diem, the truth about the great wealth divide in America. And in that post, basically what I was trying to say was that the reason why the wealth gap in America, from what I saw, in my opinion, the reason why I felt like the wealth gap in America was widening and was getting greater, so the haves and have-nots, the gap between those people was getting wider and wider. I felt like the reason why that was taking place was because there were less people in our society and beyond who were really trying to gain the valuable keys that they need to gain in order to seek financial freedom. So it was less about doing it the traditional way, going to school, going to college, gaining a 4-year degree so that you can submit yourself to voluntary redundancy. That's what I call working, where you're going to basically maybe at the peak of that, you can aspire to earn close to 6 figures a year, maybe, but you're going to work like a dog your whole life. And if you're not smart with your money, and you don't invest correctly, you're going to come out on the other side of those 30, 40, 50 years with no money to speak of for the twilight years of your life. Mm-hmm. And that to me is just not the way people are supposed to be living. Mm-hmm. And so financial freedom was something that I really wanted to touch on in terms of what I was trying to get across in that post. And that's what I think about what's going on with the coronavirus situation. And even like a couple years ago when we made a video talking about the NFL and the money that they was trying to give to social causes, and the number was like $90 million or something like that. I think $89 million or some random number like that. And I even said back then, you know, you can be someone who is susceptible to some of the problems in society, or you can be someone who positions themselves in such a way that they can be removed from that. And the way that you remove yourself from those situations so that you're no longer susceptible is by acquiring resources and finances. Mm-hmm. I think that the key to all of this is about the acquisition of resources. Trust and believe the people who are least affected by this coronavirus situation, even those who might be infected but have greater access to certain healthcare resources that others don't, are the people who have that financial freedom and do have that access to resources and economics. Gotcha. And so that's kind of the main thing that I kind of wanted to stress to people is just, if this thing is something that can teach you anything at all, it's about gaining the wherewithal to learn what it is that you need to learn so that you can best position yourself to acquire resources. It's all about the acquisition of resources, which includes finances. Yeah. That's kind of the way that I have always looked at it. I mean, it's not going to make you immune to anything. So by no means does having access to economics and resources make you immune to the coronavirus, for example. But it's definitely going to position you in the best possible way to be able to confront it and succeed against it, versus people who are less privileged, who are more disenfranchised, who don't have access to economics and resources, who literally have to scratch and claw and scrape their way through life. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, whether that means that you learn a natural latent talent that you have, you can, you know, seek the means to acquire a trade, mm-hmm. so that you can work for yourself. You be your own boss. You write your own checks. Mm-hmm. You start a business. You be the means by which you acquire your finances, mm-hmm. So that you no longer have to depend. So that you no longer have to depend on the check writer. Mm-hmm. So long as you can at least put plans in motion that will inevitably lead to that being the outcome for yourself, then these types of things will be less impactful for you personally. Mm-hmm. That was pretty much the way that I always, that's kind of the angle that I look at this, is just what's the silver lining? And, you know, especially to all my Black and brown people who are most disproportionately affected by a lack of access to resources and economics. This is definitely something that you can take away and use as fuel to say, next time that a situation like this happens, because there will be another time that something like this happens, you will be in the best possible position to be able to ward off all of the negative consequences that come along with being exposed to it, because you will have said access to resources. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty much the angle that I came at it from.
Well, yeah, I agree with you on all of that. I was thinking myself the last couple weeks that I was telling myself so I this is kind of an approach I came with. I realized there's a difference between earning money, mm-hmm. and making money.
Right.
And I think, society has taught us, most of us know how to earn money. I can go apply at a job and they might pay me whatever that is. But if I get that job, now I'm earning money. Mm-hmm. But, when it comes to making money, it's like identifying your market. You know what I mean? So I can be raised in Miami, but if somehow I was dropped off in Arizona and I had to spend the next 3 months out there, I didn't have a job. It's like, I don't know, Arizona we know typically to be extra hot. You know what I mean? So maybe you can sell some hats, maybe sell some tea or cold drinks, because that's something that, you know, there's a market for that. I'm assuming, I can't be for sure because I've never been in Arizona, but or these are things that I think about. If I was in New York, maybe in the wintertime, set up a hot coffee stand. So I'm saying that to say I think that's what a lot of us need to do. You know, me included, we have to relearn how to make money, because a lot of us depend on earning money. And if something like this right here happens, guess what? Nobody can earn money. Majority of people can't earn money because the people that you were depending on to pay you not in business now. And I think that too much of, I think we take for granted, or we don't think of much how easy, I don't want to say easy, but how obvious it can be to identify a market. If I stayed in Miami, one thing for sure, there's a beach towels. You know what I mean? And I'm not, and it might sound simpler said than done, easier said than done, but there's a market for that. You know, sunglasses. So I just think that's what people need to try to figure out. How can we earn? How can you learn to make money instead of focusing on earning money? And that kind of ties into that. I think that's the main key of how we can become financially freedom. But I think too, with something like this, people need to be more understanding of how, like, as bad as it is, or how much it could have hurt you, or it is hurting you, there is, like you say, silver lining, being that we're stuck right now in a sense of time. But most people are stuck at the house with your phone, computer, laptop. So we can't do things that we feel is normal to the world, maybe party, club and stuff, but the reality of it is we still have the world right in our palm of our hands, because everything is operating on social media.
Absolutely.
So, you know what I mean? So, like, we can take this time to learn, or find out certain things that maybe help you to become in a better situation than you here now. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I've been trying to do with me, trying to, you know, start a clothing label, trying to be an entrepreneur for the last 5 years. I know this is going to happen, but personally, I've been operating under the entrepreneur umbrella for the last 5 years. So for me, I feel like it's business as usual. Business as usual. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really losing sleep. I feel like there's an opportunity, there's a market, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to attach myself to what drives me or what moves me. I like clothes, I like fashion, I like music. So there's always a market for that, you know what I mean? And I think there's a market for a lot of people. And a lot of us can do certain things, nails, all kind of things that attach us. So I think people need to take this time to become more attached to what there is that they have, that you might like, or that you feel like is a talent, gift, or something like that. And become more attached to that, because right now you have nothing but time. And at the latest you have 4 weeks, which is a month. I mean, at the most you have 4 weeks, which is a month. And a lot of us are in situations because of habits. And if they're bad habits, you got 4 weeks, which they say statistically, or however you want to say, it takes 4 weeks to break a bad habit. So if there's a bad habit or something that you haven't been doing that may have you in a situation financially, like maybe spending, or it is what, you know, certain things like me going to the club, drinking, certain things like that, you can't do. So you can take that excess money right now and put it to something towards what you like or what you love, and try to break that bad habit. And, you know, 6 months from now, you might be in a better position than you were here. And then if this happens again, I think down the road, you won't have to be in such a, I guess, difficult situation. But I mean, it's very, you know, it's just difficult. And I know a lot of us, like I said, everybody's feeling impact from this some kind of way, some worse than others. But I think it's important that we do take this time to focus on yourselves, and look deep down inside and see what it is that you can do to make changes personally, and, you know, deep down inside from a personal standpoint, and how you can get better. You know what I mean? Because we have all access to, like, the internet, social media, so you can learn, you can read, and knowledge is power. And on top of that, I just think that I think people need to take a look from a worldly standpoint and realize how much we get distracted from things like racism and all this stuff, and being better than other people, and something like this, and just actually learn and be like, man, it's crazy, because, you know, certain little things like that we get caught up on, it doesn't mean anything at this point, because I don't care if you're black, white, or Hispanic, or Asian, Right now, you stop just like the next man.
Yeah.
And you might have a little more financial backing than the next person, but a lot of people suffering from this. And, so I think this time was just something for us to all stop and look in the mirror. You know what I mean? The world has stopped, but I think this is the perfect time for everybody to stop and look in the mirror and reevaluate where you are currently from a financial standpoint, from a personal living standpoint, from a social standpoint. Evaluate how you were living and some of the things that you were doing, because this very well might be the opportunity for you to become better in a lot of aspects, and therefore put you in a way better position that you are, that you can be in later than as opposed to now. Like, this can be one of your worst situations, but this can make you the strongest you probably ever been. And a year from now, you can probably be living your best life.
Yeah, I agree. I think that like seeking knowledge is something that is one of those habits that on a whole we don't have enough of. Mm-hmm. I think that in today too many of the masses, specifically people who are like maybe our age and younger, we spend more time consuming superfluous messages and stimuli instead of acquiring genuine knowledge. There are many of us out there who are seeking to acquire knowledge, but I'm just speaking from a statistical standpoint. I think that if you were to kind of look at it statistically, there would be a greater number of people who aren't seeking knowledge versus those who are. I think we, on a whole, spend far more time on Instagram and on social media and on this stuff like TikTok than we actually spend acquiring knowledge. And everybody out there has a latent talent that they can exploit in order to position themselves to be able to be the person. Like, I guess the key that I want everybody to understand, that regardless of what you have been taught in your schools or whatever you have been taught by your friends, what you may have been taught by your own families, regardless of any of that stuff, I'm here to tell you that everyone has a latent talent. Everyone on this earth has a latent talent that if they tap into, they can use to exploit so that they become the means of producing their own finances. I really want people to understand that, like, we have been conditioned and predisposed to these messages that force us into a box where we have to go to school and then go to college and acquire debt. And then when you get out of those situations, you're dependent upon a check writer and you become a laborer for much of your life. And that's all well and good if you're doing something that makes you happy. But what you need to understand is that when you become dependent upon a check writer and you become a consummate laborer, when something like this happens, you are not in control of the means by which you acquire your finances and your way of life. It can be taken from you like that. So your job can shut down, your paycheck can stop. There's nothing that you can do about it other than to file for unemployment or try to find a temporary situation elsewhere. I don't think that is the way we were intended to actually exist. Like, I believe that all of us have the potential to be the best versions of ourselves. And that involves tapping into whatever you need to tap into so that you can exploit that, so that you can become your own check writer. Once you become the means to produce your own finances, a lot of this stuff matters less than it matters otherwise.
But I just feel like America is a place that's taught to consume. We're taught, like, social media wasn't created for people. They didn't create more social media to say, hey, everybody take social media and give the world your talents. They give social media for the average person to consume what somebody already maybe has a social status that's above the average, and we put that on there and we benefited. So it's more so we want you to be on social media to watch what everybody else is doing or what somebody else may be doing, as opposed to like being on TikTok. It's not, everybody gets on there, you can dance and do your thing. I get it. But people are just so comfortable with saying, okay, I'm gonna put on the latest Balenciaga shirt and I'm gonna dance. And the thing is so crazy, you can have 100,000 followers, right? And you can be modeling a Balenciaga shirt. But obviously there's something that has a creation for 100,000 people to follow you. So why not just take your own shirt created and just dance in that?
Yeah.
And promote yourself.
Yeah. That's okay.
But social media has us thinking where a society where we so caught up on consuming from the latest trend. I'm gonna go get this shirt because such and such wears this, and then I'm gonna wear this shirt on such and such on TikTok, as opposed to being like, what can I do and let me give it to the world.
Okay, but the if you conduct your life that way, then that's on you. That's your fault. What I am trying to say is you don't have to do that. That's the point that I'm trying to get across is if you want to be on Instagram 8-9 hours a day scrolling through your feed, how about you cut that down to 6 hours a day and dedicate those other 3 hours to going on to, doing a Wikipedia. If you like cosmetology, I don't know, get on Wikipedia, go to Aveda. I'm pretty sure Aveda got a website, get a book, open it up. Even if you like Instagram, get on Aveda's Instagram and just, plant the seeds so that you can better fine tune yourself, so that you can position yourself to be the bearer of your own finances. Like what we need to get away from, and I know corporations and companies and people who own businesses themselves don't want to hear this because they employ people. But as the messenger, I'm just going to put it out there for what it is. More people need to have the mindset that at some point, being subjected to voluntary redundancy is not the end. It is a means to an end. Mm-hmm. The ultimate end should be that if you want to work for a TV station, work for that TV station for 5-10 years, but you need to be thinking about ways in which you can open your own station. You know what I'm saying?
But the question is, I think, isn't there like a big problem? Most people are a product of their environment.
Yes, but you cannot. Yes, and this is not going to appeal to everybody. Everyone is not going to be able to be impassioned by this to the point where they go out and they do this. But somebody will. It ain't going to. I'm casting a wide net so that you can get in as many people as possible who can say, that is the key to this whole thing. Gotcha. Like, that's basically what it's about. It's not about getting everybody. You're not going to get everybody. But there are far too many people whose lives are set up for voluntary redundancy. That's what I call it. And it's like, when right, yeah. And I've been in a situation where, because people who ran a business ran it into the ground, I was employed by that business. Now the doors on that business are closed, and I'm asked out. They're fine. The people who ran the business into the ground, they're good. They got liquid assets. They got all kinds of resources that can hold them over until they get their next venture started. But for me, the laborer, the guy who was working 40 hours a week, I'm asked out. Now I'm looking at filing for unemployment. And what I'm saying is, it doesn't have to be that way for you. It doesn't have to be that way for anybody. And that's what this coronavirus situation, the economic fallout from it, hopefully can teach a lot of us, myself included. Like, there is a way out of this, and everyone has the ability to do this. You brought up the race thing. A lot of people like to play the race card, white supremacy, white people got us doing this, and blah, blah, blah.
We all right now.
We all in the same boat. Everybody is locked in their house. Everybody's at home. Rich people ain't on the beach because the beach shut down.
And a lot of things is, if you black, it's going to be a lot of black, white, Asian. Everybody gonna be looking for a job.
Yes, and the thing is, like, with the whole race thing, like, okay, fine, systemically, systemically, the percentage of people who are economically free, more likely than not, are going to be, white people and whatnot, because of just the legacy of America. Like, we're not gonna rehash that, and you can't change it. But unless you believe that, Black people and brown people intrinsically are less capable of, starting a business, of acquiring knowledge so that they can acquire resources, unless you believe that Black people just intrinsically are not as good at white people as doing that, then you can follow in, then you can procure the means so that you can be your own check writer.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, that's all there is to it. This transcends all of that racial stuff, all of that, and I get it. Like, for certain people, you got families, you got mouths to feed, you got a lot of people that you have to take care of. You're not just taking care of yourself. I'm not trying to cast aspersions on that, and I'm not trying to minimize how difficult it can be to shift gears in that way, especially when you have others to take care of.
Yes.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is, if you want it bad enough, there is a way, man. I'm sorry. I know times can be hard, and we all got a lot of stuff going on. I don't have a family. I can only imagine what it's like in times like this to try and feed families, especially if your income has been significantly compromised. But where there is a will, there is a way. It's just about whether you...
But see, society, I got like a lot of people, society trending. Everybody got a side piece. Everybody got a thought. Everybody want this and that. You got people married. And honestly, being funny, I'm not married or anything, but like a lot of people in the house stuck in situations that they try to get away from daily through work, through whatever your activities is. So you got to take this time to realize, like, it's a wake up call, man. And I'll just say this: it's like playing a video game. Most people play the video game before. A lot of people, when you lose, what you like to do, restart. Everybody like to restart. And I look at it this way, like the government, it's not easy, but they hit the restart button for most of us. It's a restart right now. So like it's almost all fair and good. It's not gonna be easy, but like this is an opportunity for you to come out and do something different that you was doing the last, whatever it might have been, 20 years.
Yeah.
Because it's not gonna be the same after this. And you know what I mean? So like it's just time to self-reflect and tap in and like appreciate if it's you and your partner in the house, figure out how can y'all be a team now. If y'all got such and such saved, how can we take this and become a team?
Yeah.
Because really what this calls for is everybody, it's gonna take team effort for people to come out of the situation. Seriously, like for you to climb out of this, people gonna have to lean on each other now. People gonna have to do certain things. You gotta support certain things for you to have a chance, because this is really it's bad. I don't want to say it, but it's bad. Like, we falling back. The economy is shut down right now. Some jobs might not even be around when you come back out. So I just think people need to take this time and realize, like, for real, this is the time for people to become more close, intertwined with each other, and and grow as a whole.
No more divisiveness. People get closer together.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, just
that same one you was out there trying to run out on 5 nights a week, or you trying to slide over here, slide over there. Now you stuck with her for the next month. Figure it out. Work it out. Work it out. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny. Before my barbershop got shut down, one of the barbers in the barbershop was like, "Man, this thing gonna break up some homes."
Yeah.
Because people can't. You got a lot of people who are just in domestic situations that they don't want to be in, and now you're in that, and you have to be in it because of what's going on. And it's like, but even to stuff like that, I say it in jest. We up here laughing and whatnot, but things are real.
Serious.
And it's just like, even for yourself, if you have reached a point where you project that your life isn't going to deviate much from this in terms of how it's set up, but even if you can plant seeds for your children, impart lessons upon them, hey son, hey daughter, like,
do this different than
yes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, education, cool. I'm never going to, I went to college. I'm not going to tell people don't go to college, but it's just like, use the opportunities that you have available to you so that you can tap into whatever is within you latent so that you can exploit it to become the bearer of your own finances.
Yes.
That's like, if there is a takeaway from this for me, it is that everyone has the ability to learn how to acquire resources, and everyone has the potential to learn how to be the bearer of their own finances. We all in this world today, there's 400 million people in America. I'm telling you, all 400 million of those people, regardless of your socioeconomic position, has the potential. Keyword is potential. So whether it actually happens or not, based on environment, extenuating circumstances, whatever. But everybody has the potential to gain the means to become the bearer of their own finances.
Yes.
And that is what's most important. Like, as long as you are in position to acquire resources, you don't have to be paid via someone else cutting a check for you because you're a laborer. If you can free yourself from this situation, then this corona, all of these, the next pandemic that comes down, the next recession, whatever happens next, you will be in position to triumph over that and not be in a situation where you're scraping and clawing trying to figure out how you're going to survive.
Yeah. And I'll just say this, man. If you're in Florida, you got plenty of options. $200 for a lawnmower. You cut $50 yards, you get your money back in 5 tries. So there's things that's still out here that you can do right now, even in this time. I got a truck. If you got a truck, some people unfortunately might have to downgrade. Guess what you do? You help them move it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm just saying, like, there's opportunity in this. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to sound cruel, but like, there's a market. You got to find yourself a place in that market. Some people going to be, you know what I mean? Not say the benefit off it per se, but it depending on how you let the situation affect you, it's solely on you. So, you know what I mean? We all are a victim, quote unquote, at this point, but it's a choice to remain a victim.
Absolutely a choice, yes.
Or to come out a victor. So,
yes,
you know what I mean?
It is 100% a choice, 100%.
Yeah. But,
everybody get it, man.
Positive vibes only, man. Y'all better figure it out. But, you know, for real, smile through it. But, man, it's the time to be great. I told people, get excited if you're an entrepreneur, you're an innovator, if you're a hustler, you're if you're any of those things, you should be excited because there's a market right now open for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, man, we're going to go ahead and close it out. Just our 2 cents on on coronavirus.
1 second, I did want to show the bag. I got to
you going to walk off the camera to go ahead.
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah.
I'll be there 2 seconds. I got you. Unfortunately, no.
We got a product placement for PVO.
Yeah,
product placement for PVO.
Listen, get your PVO bag, man. Positive vibes only. We out here. Look, you know, waterproof. And it's filled with positivity. Before you get anything in it, it's already filled with positivity. Ain't that something? But no, seriously. Positive vibes only, man. It's always a pleasure, man. And I hope y'all learn from this. And seriously, we got to take a team effort to come up out of this one, man.
Yeah. So as usual, all relevant content can be found on the website, consciousapproach.com. Please visit, please support. We are also on YouTube. Just search Conscious Approach. We there. Check Dade out. The PVO, as you just saw with the bag, it's on the website, pvo.apparel, as well as on Instagram at pvo.apparel. All is there. You can find me on Instagram at jvwins. Did I forget anything? No. I think that's all of it. Yeah, so until next time, man, please stay positive. We're going to get through it. It's all going to be okay. It's all about acquiring resources, man. So just, think about acquire resources. How can I go about doing that? What is it that I'm good at that I can exploit in order to acquire resources? Because even in tough economic times, opportunities to exploit your ability so that you can acquire resources will always be present.
And think about this, all the stuff that probably was negative that you don't have to experience right now, like the negativity you might have been feeling at your job, around certain people, you don't get that right now because you're confined. So guess what? You don't have to go back to it. If it was some kind of negative stuff that you were dealing with before, you got a time to think about it and say, okay, guess what? I won't be dealing with that.
Yeah, use the time for practical purposes, man. Really, be pragmatic. Don't spend 9 hours on your damn Instagram feed, man. Y'all gotta cut that out, man. Get off Instagram, unless you're gonna scroll through feeds that can teach you something.
Yeah, if you're 45, don't be TikTok.
Yeah, get off the surface, man. Y'all really need to stop with this. I know people 9-10 hours a day scrolling through a feed. Like, what are you doing? You wasting productivity time. But listen, on that note, man, we're going to go ahead and be out. Like us, follow us, hit the like button on this video. And until next time, keep it logical. We will see you again.
Holla.
Later.
Holla.